Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is TaSTA radio show coming over the air, 96 FM, for the Love Hour.
Did you have a love hour growing up? Yeah, we had that.
Yeah, Radio Romance. Radio Romance with Michael Jarrett.
Was it the Nightshift or something? Because this is when
Brilliant, that's such a great name for an Irish radio.
Because this is when like the word shift.
Shift in Ireland means kiss. Like, oh.
And it only came into fashion in like the early 90s, wasn't it?
The night shift, brilliant.
The night shift, yeah. It was all just like teenagers ringing in saying, "Oh, can you tell fucking Siobhan and Clonroach?"
Yes.
Michael, I want to jizz on her face.
Yeah, Michael from Ann Street wants to jizz on Siobhan. No, that wasn't really that bad, but it was essentially that. Yeah, a load of horny teenagers. Can you play a foreigner? I want to know what love is.
Yeah. And they always used to play that, what's that French horny song? Je t'aime. You know the one I'm talking about?
Je t'aime? That one?
Is that the one? Do. That one.
Enigma.
No.
Now, More Than Words is a big one. I do the Bryan Adams one that was number one for 7 years.
Yeah.
Lots of them. Yeah.
Jesus, we were pathetic teenagers, huh?
But you see, the youth of today won't understand radio, and that was our internet. That was the connection. That's how you sent a message, because we'd no text messaging. None of us could write, so we couldn't send letters to each other. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Well, that was it. Like, you'd listen to it because, like, you'd maybe hear your mates calling each other out, and just pray that one day you'd hear your own name.
I know, yeah.
But then again, like, there's a lot of fucking Spud Murphys in Wexford, so.
Yeah, and the really good bullying tactic is that you'd get someone would ring up and say, "Oh, and Tommie fancies Jennifer," whoever, some mad, and like everything. Then you
Jennifer the heifer.
Yeah, then you spent 2 days with everyone pointing and laughing at the playground. Yeah. Why would anyone want to go back to that?
And then she feels awful because she's been rejected, even though she didn't like you.
Like, it's you, but I feel bad about but she's the joke. She's the actual joke. It's awful for her.
Yeah. That feels worse for her. And then you just end up like, okay, pity, going out with her, and suddenly you've 3 kids and a mortgage, and now you're like, well, okay, what?
What? Oh, because
what's my true will here? What's my true will? I don't think I'm doing my true will.
The night shift.
Married Jennifer, have 3 sprogs called Damien, Declan, Dennis. I don't know why we went with 3 Ds. It's a mistake. Our surname is McDennis, so we're all getting bullied because we have stupid names. Double D.
My dad worked with a guy called Dermot McDermott. What a brilliant name.
Yeah.
But I probably told you this before, but it's my favourite name of all time. He was a Dutch guy, and his name was Hans Hook. What a name!
Should have been a boxer, man. That's a deadly name.
So
the best name I know was a man from our village, and I never really copped it. I guess said one time, because in Poland people have quite long names, and his name's Tom Fox. It's wonderful, just 2 syllables.
Nice,
great name. That's all I need. Like Aga's, how many syllables is an Aga's? Aga's name has 6 syllables.
Right.
First name, obviously.
Yeah. Aga. Her actual real name is, you have to get a book. It's 300 pages, no paragraphs. And if you say it at dawn, she just appears. It's very strange. So we before we do the TaSTAs, we do the scrying of the Aethyrs, as we like to say it around this part, the Aethyrs. And we had a good experience this morning. The big cheese seems to have turned up for both of us in various forms. But there was an interesting thing that happened, Spud, that he doesn't know about yet. So this is
I don't know this. Yeah. Tommie's like, we're going to talk about it, and Tommie says, no, wait, we're going to do the podcast. Okay.
So usually when you're doing, I think we're doing the scrying very weird. Don't seem to be, we calling up the same people who just come in different guises, which is maybe that's what it is. But every time Spud asks for a name of who he's talking to, it's usually some sort of transit or delivery company. It's strange. It usually is. It's some sort of weird, unheard of,
delivery company from the Middle East.
Yeah, from the Middle East. But this one, he got talking to, and the name you kind of fumbled over the wee bit, which was Dax Ilas. And I was going, oh, that sounds a bit Enochian. So I put it into an Enochian thing and no, nothing came up. But the second thing then was Dakil Tas, which is very, very similar. And it's a Jewish folk song. And there's an interesting thing because it's a magical ritual that I think you have to do. So I'm going to read it out for you.
Right, let's do it.
I'll not do the Jewish. I'll do. It's not even Jewish. The language. What was it? Hebrew. Yeah. I'll read the translation. So it's a bit long. So feel free to interrupt me. It's not that long, but Beat the plate. Take the plate. The little girls play on the Sabbath of Hanukkah. 8 days of Hanukkah. Light a candle for Hanukkah. So first thing, I think you have to celebrate Hanukkah, isn't it?
Hanukkah, Monica, yeah.
Yeah. Have a happy Hanukkah.
Monica.
Okay, so that's what to me is that you have to beat the plate. Now that could mean something very different in Ireland, beating the plate. So I assume it just means take the plate into the kitchen. So you have to do it. It seems to be acting out something. So the chicken in the kitchen, give it to the neighbour to taste. So you have to cook a chicken and give it to a neighbour. So that it'll be a medicine. So it's like a healing thing. So that then you would bring chicken soup to someone, I suppose. In America, I don't think it's an Irish thing. 8 days of Hanukkah, light a Hanukkah candle. Put the meat in the oven, Spud. We will play a good santur. Now santur is like a stringed instrument from like the Middle East. It's kind of like a dulcimer. That kind of a high metally type thing. On the Sabbath of Hanukkah, 8 days of Hanukkah, light a Hanukkah candle. The wine of the evening meal is very much to my taste. To drink on Hanukkah, 8 days of Hanukkah, light a Hanukkah candle. One takes the oil from the can until 10. The other takes the flour from the sack until 10. To make the bromelelios, you can look that up in your own time. In the days of Hanukkah, 8 days of Hanukkah, light a Hanukkah candle. So I think that's a ritual that... if I got that name, I personally would do it, but I wouldn't force it on you to do it. But
Hanukkah's when? It's before Christmas, around Christmas.
It's the end of November, isn't it? Right?
During Christmas.
If only I had a page or some sort of search engine. Hold on till I ring the Nightshift and see if they could.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know any Jewish people. I've only ever known one.
The Festival of Lights
in Poland.
Late November to the late December. It may occur at any time from late November. So it's obviously different every year then, is it?
It's surely something to do with full moons and all that crack.
Right, the 2022 date is the 18th of December to the 26th. Sunset to nightfall.
So light a candle, cook some chicken, and
beat the plate.
What was the other one? Put some meat in the oven so if to get Aga pregnant again.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Declan. Derek. And you have to play music one of the nights.
Okay.
And you have to drink wine. And then you have to... one takes the oil from the can, so you have to drink some castor oil or something. Yeah. Chug down some vegetable oil.
No, but it was oil from a can and flour, wasn't it? So it's like, what, you're making bread? Making pasta?
So hold on, we'll see what Bormello's is. I'm sure.
Flour and oil would make some kind of pasta, wouldn't it? You need an egg, I suppose. But that's what the chicken is for.
Jewish people not known for the pasta, but...
they don't eat pasta, no? I have no idea.
I don't know. So Brunello, or Brumello's, whatever we want to pronounce, is a fried dough fritter.
Oh, yummy.
So it's
like I know what they
donut.
are. Yeah, they have them here in Poland. Yeah. That's the Polish food is comes from the Jewish food.
Right. Well, that makes sense. So so I'll link that to you in Discord, and you can. I just thought it because it was so similar to the name.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of that's done now. Excuse me while I do some admin during the podcast.
Shalom. I'm gonna have to learn some Hebrew now, aren't I?
Yeah.
And
so it was
get
pretty
the
cool.
chop.
Yeah, I'm chopped, so I'm legit. So that was what Jesus' big thing to the world, wasn't it? Oh, you don't have to be chopped to be religious.
It was Paul.
Oh, was it Paul? He decided. Jesus was all for the chop, was he? Well, Jesus himself would have been chopped. So him a Jewish man
he would have been, but I don't. Well, anything that I've read on it said that he didn't say anything about it. It was Paul that was like, nah, the mar.
Yeah, because he was more trying to get non-Jews in, wasn't it? That was his thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's 4 or 5 Jesus foreskins to be found around the world. Last time I checked, which was, yesterday I checked daily, to be honest. It's an important part of my life. Yeah. Where are you going on the holidays this year, Agatha? Well, we're going to see Jesus' foreskin in Spain. It's in a church in Spain.
Yeah, it definitely has to be in Spain. Spain's full of fucking mad relics, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a bizarre thing to do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Imagine someone give it to you. You know the way in Ireland, there's a kind of a healing thing where they hand around like relics from saints or whatever, and you get Padre Pio's glove or something, and then some guy.
I get that. Something. Yeah,
so you have this. What's wrong? Oh, he's sciatica. Oh, Jesus' foreskin. I'll get it off Tom. He has it. You bring it round. And you leave it on your nightstand, and you'll be grand. Sciatica's gone. And then all you have to do is put a note in the newspaper to praise Jesus' foreskin.
Yeah. I have a sore throat. Gargle this foreskin. No.
Yeah.
All right.
Foreskin tonic.
I just stopped smoking. Catholics are mad, huh?
Yeah.
And they just, this is normal. We totally believe that. Right. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm a Jew now. I need to learn about my people, my oppressed people. Maybe that's why I came back to Poland to stamp a claim. Maybe I have some old relatives and I can get some land back. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I know a fella in Krakow who was given. No, sorry, he wasn't given. Through his sound lad, I haven't seen him now in years, but he rocked into to Poland with this land deed, and it was in this kind of crappy part of Krakow, but since then they've turned it into like the Jewish quarter, and his is like the main hotel there. Deadly.
Right.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, and it was just okay. Yeah. I'll do that. No problem at all. And
nice.
Yeah, stuff like that still goes on. Like if you have some, because that's what happened. You were kicked out of your house. You were sent to a concentration camp, and then there's a free house. Let's move in. And now a couple of generations later, it's like, hey, whoa, that shit's mine, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. And
it's so strange. Humans are so shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going forward, Spud, you have to identify now as a
I'm a Hasidic Jew. I'm going to be a Hasidic Jew.
You kind of get the facial hair for it. You just need curls. You actually, you know what you should do? You should just is this bad? You should, sellotape the curls on and do it. No. God turned up one day when I was scrying, and he told me this is cool.
Tommie to me. Did you see because they had the big party in Ukraine there? Was it last week? The big Hasidic Jewish party. They have it every year in Ukraine. Right. And it's massive. It's huge. Now this year it was hundreds of people rather than thousands, but it looks like mad crack. Just a whole load of lads in funny hats just getting off their head, off their heads, pissed, and just drinking and having the crack and lifting each other up on chairs and dancing and stuff. But strangely, no women. Yeah, I don't like that.
There seems to be a correlation between religions and hating women. It's some trend I've noticed. Has anyone else noticed that trend? Is that just me who's seen that?
Like, we can all admit that, like, men will obviously have more fun with other men. But,
of course.
But women as well. Women prefer the company of other women too, for obvious reasons. Men prefer the company of men for obvious reasons.
I don't know. I think women prefer the company of men because a load of women always complain about how bitchy it gets.
Sound women.
Yeah.
No. This is horrible, huh? Yeah, dig up, Spud, dig up. Yeah. That was a joke, Tommie. No one laughed. Now I'm in trouble. Fuck.
But I'll edit this together and I'll leave it like a 4-minute silence after that joke. Tumbleweed coming across. To make it really bad.
And but how can you have a world without women? That'd be fucking awful. They're way smarter than us, and they're better looking, and they smell usually. Not that they smell better than us, but it's that we always smell worse than them.
Yeah, that's true story.
They are neutral smelling. Yeah. We stink.
But the brains are smaller, so that's let's not let them have votes or any say in life whatsoever.
That's coming back to bite you in the ass in about 5 years' time, man.
It's not actually true that the brains are smaller, and I don't believe any of that. But I'll tell you, let's look at America and see the trajectory that country's going on, and it's come back in 5 years and see if the religious fruitcakes have actually won. Their next thing is birth control. I see this morning on Reddit that they're going to remove. It's very strange. Very strange times we live in.
Just going to go back to using fucking sheep's intestines. Oh.
Yeah, that was the Egyptian method, wasn't it?
It's not even that old. They were using that, 150, 200 years ago? They were still using sheep's intestines as condoms, yeah.
It's probably, a better idea than plastic that doesn't ever disappear or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't.
It's not
sheep,
that
though.
sturdy.
Yeah. But I used to clean it, like it was more than one use. Like it would be your.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure I read that it wasn't a single use. Yeah, it's like it was your sex sock. Yeah. So anyway, TaSTA's gone off the air very shortly. It seems. Just don't care anymore. Yeah. So anyway, let's go back to Scrying the Enochian because that's somewhat relevant to what we're meant to be talking about. Somewhat, rather than being anti-religious, misogynistic, and xenophobic about Americans. So we're on. What did we work it out as? We've done 16 of them so far.
16 to go, isn't it?
Oh, 16 to go. So we've done 14 more. Getting close to halfway through. And I definitely feel the last couple of weeks of doing them, there's been a kind of a change in the quality of what was happening. For me, anyway, that the first ones were kind of, let me say, like a cartoony kind of resolution, say. No, I don't mean the images or whatever, but and then it's going now, and we're into HD and we're getting to 4K. Next week it'll be HDR, maybe a bit of 3D when it's that turn again for 3D to be fashionable. And a lot of reoccurring motifs and stuff like that seem to be coming up. But today was interesting because at the end of mine, if you want to, it'll be on my Patreon at some stage when I manage to do the transcript, which takes longer than it should. Really, I wish there was a text or audio to text generator that was made for Irish people.
For Irish people.
It would be much handier for me. Yeah. Because I was using Descript, and there's just halfway through some of it just gives up and leaves paragraphs out just going, I have no notion, man.
Here, I had to transcribe a Liverpool footballers thing during the week for work.
Right.
That was not the Liverpool team at the moment, because there's very few. I think there's only one fella from actually Liverpool in the whole squad. But like from the old team from the 70s, that was
right.
hard. And it's like, it knocks me over. I don't know if I've said it 101 times, but it bowls me over, like just the amount of English people that can't speak English. This is mad. It's mad.
But I mean, the only time I've ever not been able to really understand a group of Irish people, because sometimes you meet someone and you just go, I've no idea what you're talking about, is in Youghal in Cork, or Youghal.
Youghal.
I found it very, 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 very hard to understand. But and then after a while you get into it, but they have a very different, like even like the Kerry stuff, which is quite raw. Well, to us,
it's just different words.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you know the words, but it's like, oh, geez, I'd never use them, all of them in a sentence.
No, in a row to describe milk. What's wrong with you? So yeah, at the end of mine today, it was like a presence showed up, and it was really intense. My whole body was like kind of.
Oh, but tell on yours was really cool at the start, because it was kind of a Grail kind of quest. There was a knight, swords, dragons. This shit's getting cool. I was thinking, you belly the beast, you're fighting for something, and then Yeah,
then the warrior died. It's like, oh shit. And anyway, I can't really remember. I'm glad we record them, because he'd be going, what happened then after the dragon? What did happen? So I kept walking, but then there was a whole thing about it started getting very weird, because it was showing me stuff, and it was going like, this isn't right, or no, there was like a tribe of people showed up, but it was this is a cliche, like this is a parody, and because that happened to me before, early on, where it was everything was like, you know, is this what you want? Is this what you're looking for? You know, a fridge? You want a fridge? what are you here for? Same as when you were asking the guy when you were talking to him. I assume it was the same guy. It seemed quite similar anyway. It's like, why are you here? And it went, you called me? And I went, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Sorry about that, man.
But, yeah, so then it was like shown, and it was, whatever, you can read it. But then there was like a real sense of a presence, and I got it, like, there was like a hum in my ears that was getting really, really loud. You know, like when you're underwater, and there's that kind of sound of where
the levels just changed, man. That was fucking weird. What the dude? Who's fucking with us here? Stop it! Normal? Fucking lights are going to start going off now.
Yeah, just someone's going to just come up behind me with some face. It'll be Nugget. just here. Braxis on this side. But yeah, the real sense of presence. My whole body kind of, the hairs in the back of my neck started standing up. There was like, I got really cold. Almost like there was an electric current going through it, and it was like, then this thing was coming towards me. I couldn't really see it. I was like, oh shit. But like a definite, I felt like really old, really knew what it was about, like a real presence of, you know, when you think of like, say, divine, you kind of think of, lovely. And this was quite, not menacing or anything like that, but quite, what would be the word? It had good gravitas to it, but I don't even mean that. It had a real deep presence of authority.
So it's almost like the fear of God stuff.
Yeah, but
it's not, awesome in like the original.
It's awesome, meaning. Yes, that's exactly. It's not like it's not in the way if it was a demon and was trying to scare you or something like that. It's not that. Mm-hmm. It's not terror in that kind of sense. It's like, oh no, you're standing in the presence of something really, and you're proud. I just say, oh, you know, you're in awe of this thing, and it just said, beware and be aware. I was going, yeah, cliches. Nothing like that. So you said something similar as well. He gave you an answer to that. Oh, like you could tell you about it because it's really funny.
I don't remember.
No, the bit where he answers the question and then the puff of smoke.
Yeah. It's a weird thing with these things because, like, you're like, okay, like, what isn't me and which is, let me try that again. Which part of this is my brain doing this, and which part of it is something from the outside? No, that's not even right. Which is something that's, say, deeper? Which is me on the surface, and which is the Carl Jung's archetypes? You know,
well, that's
which is which?
I would.
You know?
That thing at the end was definitely not me. In one way, like we're all the same thing, but it's like, oh no, that's something that I'm not generating. That's the feeling of it. Yeah. Which is strange. Then, like,
the end of my thing, we're like, no, we had this fucking conversation, and he's like, he's a messenger of God. He's telling me about stuff and all this. Like, I asked him, what's I got a bit kind of stressed out or uncomfortable.
Yeah, you had to stop at one point because you're kind of going, right, hold on, I need to chill out here or something.
Yeah. I asked him what's his what's he do, and he's this kind of messenger for what we call God or the universe at this kind of level, right? And then he started showing me like what the God that he knows, I suppose the only way I can explain it, is the God in interactions between people, between animals. It's in every relationship.
So it's like what you're seeing was like people having coffee in a coffee shop or something like that.
Yeah. So people having coffee. I saw like a rugby match, people tackling each other. I saw a swarm of bees in a beehive, and there was locusts, something else as well. But it was there was a what do you call it? A greengrocers. How old am I? Fucking greengrocers. It's a corner shop.
Put the messages in the press.
Yeah. We'll just move on, right? We won't explain that. We'll just keep going. And so it's in the relationship between other people, beings. You know, people have this attraction to each other, and in that is where God is. Right? So I'm not going to fucking come up with that. That's okay. That's an archetype thing. That's cool. But then at the end, there's just this kind of puff of smoke, and he's gone like Aladdin. I'm like, ah. Yeah. That's me fucking with myself. It has to be. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know, because it's like if you tell yourself a joke, apart from my jokes, which are hilarious, but usually when you tell yourself a joke, you don't really laugh. You know, sometimes you do, but like most of the time you don't. So when you catch something like that, where it's, you know, you're kind of just letting your mind play it does something really funny and you laugh, which you did. You know, it's kind of, I don't know, where's that coming from? It's just like, because there has to be an element of surprise to humour, right? So you can't surprise yourself. I personally think it's hilarious. Laugh
maybe.
All the time.
No. There you are. There's it's a mad thing, this Aethyrs. I don't know if people are into doing them or have done them, but at first I wasn't really into them at all. But now I kind of look forward to them now, because there's stuff turning up and you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's maybe worth looking at, you know? Yeah. And as well, I'll spend a day or two now thinking about stuff, but also as well, I shelve it. And when we're done with everything, then I'm going to go back through them. Yeah, and you had
a good idea, is that we should, when they're all finished, that I should go back and read yours or go over yours as if they were from me. And you should being that we're doing them together and that there is an overlap and stuff like that it would be, I think it's a great idea. Let's spend some time in the mind of Spud.
Oh God. Poor Tommie. What have I done? So look, we're gonna fall out now. The Cure are better than Depeche Mode. That's, I mean, it's just
well, it's kind
and I can prove it, right? Because there's a sync. Okay. I have a sync today. Who was it? Marco Visconti, tweeted something today about, because today is the happy anniversary of REM, Automatic for the People. He tweeted that, I saw that, and then I had to look up, do I actually remember any of the fucking songs from Automatic for the People? And the first song is called Drive, isn't it? And it's this weird kind of, nobody tells me where to go, baby. Do. It's like this, anyway.
That was so perfect that I'm afraid that YouTube might actually demonetize this video.
But then it had that Everybody Hurts, and everybody go, that's a really depressing album, actually, And
night swimming and all that.
Night swimming. That's on that, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. I remember the one I really liked of theirs was what's the frequency, Kenneth, because it just had fuckloads of distortion on everything.
Yeah, that's not that album, no. It's
No, it's not that one.
What's it? The Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight or something like this. Come and try to wake her up. Right away, girl.
Maybe.
I kind of have a love-hate relationship with REM in that I like some of their songs, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about the aesthetic of the band that I just can't get into. You know, it's just there's like a college scene thing to us that I don't warm to or something, you know, that kind of, like, where I can...
Yeah.
And him as a person, he seemed quite interesting, but I don't know. There's the great...
Yeah, because for me, like, college music should be like rebellion, no effects, propaganda. Yeah. You know, fat records, punk rock, fuck you kind of stuff. And this is kind of like, I'm an intellectual. What the fuck?
That's what it is. Yeah, which 17. Is fine, and I get it, and you know, and I do. I like a lot of REM songs. And What's the Frequency Candidate is one of my favorite REM songs, and I love the video that you can't see their heads, all that stuff. He said one time in an interview with Dave Fanning that he's the greatest singer that ever existed in the world, or whatever. And the cameraman started laughing.
Awesome.
Oh, brilliant. Great TV.
So he retweeted this from a Twitter account called Sound Story UK, and so I had a look at this, and it's just a dude who tweets out like on this day, yada yada yada, and so the first tweet that I saw this morning was on this date in 1981, Depeche Mode released their debut album. Mm-hmm. There's a sync, right? However, the next tweet, on this date in 1987, The Cure released a single, Just Like Heaven. Next tweet, on this day in 1981, The Cure released a standalone single, Charlotte Sometimes. So there we have it, I win.
Because there's two.
Yeah, there's two for one.
Although yesterday, Depeche Mode just announced a new album and a new tour, and it's the first since they're now a two-piece, being as the member died. So that's a sync on the Depeche Mode's favourite. Not a sync.
No, it was yesterday. It doesn't count. It has to be today to be. Shut up.
Well, it's all over Facebook today. If you go there, you could just make your syncs. I think one of the things about The Cure versus Depeche Mode, in a sense, it's like they're two very different bands. It's like,
oh yeah, Jesus, like, awful different. Yeah.
Which is better, Oasis or Blur? And you go like,
a Blur.
Well, Blur, yes, but of course.
That solves that.
But it's like, that's all that. Moving on. The Rolling Stones or the Beatles. Well, they're two very different bands that just happen to be contemporary. And to a sense, I don't even think The Cure and Depeche Mode are that contemporary, because in The Cure 1970, 71 is when they come out. I know they don't really make it huge.
No,
what
did I say there? First thing was, standalone single. Yeah, well, yeah, early 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I remember.
Could be 70s, I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember it was like, he came out and goes, we've been together 25 years. And I was going, what? And this was mid-90s, so yeah, it has to be, or late 90s. Robert Smith, that is.
Cool, first album, 19... Yeah, you're right, yeah, 79, first album, yeah.
He did a song recently with Churches, which is quite good. He's still kind of relevant. But they're just... I would go to The Cure for a very different thing than I go to Depeche Mode for, but I can understand the kind of, I suppose, goth depression that is in both of them. But I think it's more... I definitely like Depeche Mode more than I like The Cure. I know more of Depeche Mode. Do you know what it is?
I know what it is for me. It's because Depeche Mode will bring me down and they'll make me a bit introspective and just like you have to be in this. It's like listening to Nine Inch Nails. Like you don't want to be in a good mood when you're listening to them.
Oh no, yeah.
Whereas The Cure is kind of like, I like the kind of the idea of that, like, well, the world is falling apart and everything is terrible, but I'm going to dance in the rain holding a rose anyway. Yeah. I like the kind of
black
poetic. I like that of it. You know what I mean? And because they're a very strange band. Your man Robert Smith is bonkers, obviously, but like his lyrics are so nice and loving, and they're all about like how much he fucking adores his wife, and he fucking adores her, like. But then he has this aesthetic of just sad, miserable, grumpy old man. Whereas like all his songs are like, I love you, I'll do anything for you, I'll die for you, I'll bleed for you. And then it's kind of like interviewed. Leave me alone.
Speaking of Nine Inch Nails, I've seen an amazing interview with Nine Inch Nails from the 90s on YouTube. It just came up. It was like it's in a hotel room and it's MTV, and the host is in the bed with like two members of Nine Inch Nails either side, and and Trent Reznor's just lying at the bottom of the bed, and she's interviewing the other members, and every time she goes to ask Trent something, he just goes, I'm too sad, I'm just too sad. It's brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, he's as mad as a fucking box of badgers, that chap, but he's deadly.
Yeah, have you listened to much of the soundtrack stuff that he's done? Like they did Soul, him and Atticus Ross. They did Mank, which is like a jazz, essentially big band jazz album, and Social Network. They did some great.
Right, stuff. I remember that one. Yeah,
good. Yeah, so now this is a music podcast, so we're supposed to talk about music.
I was going to completely change the subject there now. So how's the practice, Tommie? How's
the guitar practice, because it's a music podcast. Yeah, it's grand. My meditation is better than it was anyway. That wasn't hard considering I wasn't doing it. But I mean, the new meditation that I've been prescribed, is that right? That be doing? Yeah. It involves, well, it's good. I'll explain it all. So the first part is you connect on 4 levels. So you check in with yourself physically. How are you? How's your body feeling? Pretty cool. How are you emotionally? And you go, oh.
And do you have to like pass a test? Can you be like, I feel terrible?
Yeah, yeah. My leg is sore. Right. I have a headache. But you're that's where I am. Emotionally, you go, whatever it is. I'm a bit anxious, or I'm, I've no emotions, a bit numb. I'm kind of dead to the world. Whatever it is.
Been listening to Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
And Nine Inch Nails.
I'm just too sad. To meditate. And then you check in mentally, and you go, "Oh right, that's mad. that's not stopping. That's a constant." And then the last
monkey with the symbol.
But it's interesting to see the 3 go right. There is 3 definite levels of stuff going on, and then the 4th one is you connect with, as they call it, your solar angel or your holy guardian angel, or the part of you that's divine, whatever way you want to do it. And with that, if you can't get it, you act as if you've made this connection or whatever it is. And that can be quite good because it goes from the physical to the. Some days you get it, some days you don't. And then there's two other parts.
And are you handing over these kind of lower?
No, it's just
troubles to it.
That's where you are.
No?
That's just where you are. That's
okay.
But you're not trying to fix it either. You're not. It's just there you are. This is what we're doing. Here we are. Well, in a sense, it's a similar type thing because if you're just in the presence or whatever. And then there's two sections after. One is the if it's like a seed thought that you kind of a bit like centering prayer or the old Alan Chapman HGA thing where you just put a thought there and you go, what, and you bring yourself back to thought, which I it's okay, but it's like some of them can be like, oh, the soul, or is, I don't know, like what was the soul, being in touch with the soul is, more about looking to, ignoring the past, look to the future. Sometimes it can feel a bit trite or whatever, but, just go with it. And some days you can kind of spin off that and go into other things. But that, for me, feels a bit like I'm sitting there thinking, which I don't like. There's an activeness to it because I can do that before I go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. And then there's the whole...
Keep myself awake with the guilt of the world on my shoulders.
Oh, the past is what makes me... The future... And then there's a whole other sections that are in this module or whatever it is I'm doing is it's called Problems of Humanity. And it's about... Right, grand, so we have all this wonderful thing. Yeah, now let's try and actually do something with the world. Let's... And it can be quite... Again, it's a seed thought. I find it hard. There's a lot of study and there's a lot of stuff that you have to get into that I'm finding tough because it's in a sense you have to expose yourself to what's going on without falling apart over it, so that you can try to see it as the plan, as they say, working out or whatever. And that can be quite hard for me because I emotionally fall apart quite quickly with these things.
Well, yeah, Putin's about to drop a bomb. How are you supposed to, yeah.
Black Rose, raining, Robert Smith. Although Tommie's over there, depressed mode, in the corner, in my room.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed. That song's about heroin, right?
What one?
It's here in my arms.
All of it's about heroin.
They're all about heroin, aren't they? They're not about love.
There's the on Black Celebration, which is what a great name for an album, which I suppose My Chemical Romance changing into Black Parade with
they were a terrible band. Oh God.
But the line, death is everywhere. There's flies on the windscreen for a start. 1986, things are going to get better. Yeah. And and it did, clearly. Like we're not in the same place that we were in 1986 at all. Yeah.
Imagine being in the depths of fucking Thatcher England in your 20s and just knowing, like, fuck, best years of my life are fucked.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Poor devils, like. And now you have fucking Thatcher 2.0. What the fuck?
Parody Thatcher, though.
Parrot Thatcher. Good one. Right, yeah, let's not get depressed.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah, so there's that, but there's that. But it's to just kind of meet up with the greater thing and just kind of chill out and then go. There's a kind of a very distinct place between getting into a very meditative state and the sleep where you start hearing yourself snoring. But to get to that thing, you have to tread that line. And some days I'm able to tread the line and some days I'm not. But I do find that the fire practice thing of just noticing, it can kind of keep you in that kind of place as well. But you see, when you start doing that, then you're not doing the practice you're actually meant to be doing, So it's I don't know. So I'm not doing it completely right, but I'm doing it. I'm doing the best I can do in the moment. What about you?
Yeah, I'm grand. I've should probably speak to one of the Magia lads. May as well out myself. Yeah, I joined that order.
That cult. Join the cult.
Arcanum Arcanorum
the white supremacy cult?
I'm going to take him down from the inside, man. I'm Jewish now, you know that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'm taking down.
Yeah.
I'm a Jew. I'm a Catholic Jew. Right? I'm going to take him down from the inside. I'm going to blackface and everything. You know, I'll fucking blow their world, man.
I'm going to make it weird.
Bring down the KKK. That'll be good crack, huh? I've been... Some strange things have been happening during the beloved practice, just getting hit with these waves of fucking misery, sadness. I'm not used to that.
Right.
And as well, fear. There was one, like, I could see myself doing horrible things. But, you know, it's connected to that thing that, you know, we all think we would have fucking stood up to Hitler if we were in Germany in the 1930s. Would we fuck? You know what I mean? We all have the capacity for horrible evil. And I presume that's what I was being shown. That, like... Yeah.
That's quite
that
young,
wasn't nice. But it's always... not. There was, like... period of, say, 2 and a bit weeks there. Because I chop them up. I'll do the fire, then the beloved, then the underworld, and the fire, then the beloved, then the underworld.
All right. Actually do the underworld.
Kind of thing.
Must be one of the few people who actually do it.
Yeah, no, it's easy. I don't know why people don't like that one. It's like, yeah, it's not seeing as time. Cool. I know. That's fine. You know?
Yeah.
All right. We are just the ever-evolving consciousness of everything.
You do
like
underworld practice because it takes you 30 seconds. You go, right, that's me. that's me done for the day. Nice. No time. Grand.
And... so it was kind of freaking me out there for a bit, but it's gone away now again. But it's not nice, like to do your meditation for whatever, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. The buzzer goes off then, and you're like, fuck, feeling awful. You know, it's just like having these kind of visionary experiences of hell on earth. You know, how do you get back to writing about, you know, Man United versus Chelsea after that?
Well, I guess you end up writing a book called Ion, and and then stop writing after. Well, you wrote.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, though. Isn't it? Like, I mean, a lot of the Red Book is that stuff as well. It's just seen absolute horror of, particularly around war and stuff. And is it? Do you think? Is it prophetic in any way, or is it just, or is it showing you stuff you've actually done, or is it just, you know, this is a potentiality that's within you?
Yeah, I think it's that one. I don't think it's prophetic. I'm not going to murder people. Touch wood. Don't want to.
And the next 10 year goals.
You know, I'd pull the trigger on that fucker. But no, I think it's a kind of just a warning of the potentiality of the badness that's in all of us, not just me.
Like a Jordan Peterson type thing of that we all.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about him, though, are we? You know.
Yeah. I'm going to cry.
What's his name? Piers Morgan made him cry.
3 times. 3 times, man. 3 times. I know. I think
Piers Morgan's the most horrible man in the world, and having him bullying you, it's just, oh my God. And it's such I watched it, and it's such a weird thing for him to get upset about, because it's like, not that it's a weird thing for him to get upset about. He's like, okay, so Piers Morgan says, you know, the incels champion you. And then he gets all welled up, and he's like, basically he's like, these people are fucking losers, these incels. And they're losers because, like, the world we've created for them, and they don't know what to do, and they're so fucked up. I'm their hero. And then he starts crying. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. It's kind of like, it's kind of like his heart is in the right place, but he just keeps fucking up, you know.
Yeah, there's like
strange ones.
7 wolves inside that man, and one of them is still in a coma in Russia, or so, you know. But no, that. Like,
yeah, look, to go back to the thing, yeah, I think that's all it is. It's just this. It's like there's you have to kind of know this part of yourself before you can do what's next or do. No, that makes it sound prophetic. There is this part of yourself that you have to accept. You know, you could be a horrible bastard because you want to be. you know.
Isn't it not more that you are? You know, you
already are, actually. Yeah.
That's not,
this is in you already, yeah. And there's not fuck all you can do about it. It's just there.
Yeah.
So fucking carry it, you know? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Thanks, honey.
Yeah. And is that dissipating now, or is it still present? Or?
Yeah, no, I haven't had it in over a week now. Right, so that's 2 sessions of Beloved I would have done. I haven't had it, yeah.
And was there like a journey with it, or was it just like 7 days of that and then it went away, or what? Was there any kind of
No, I don't do 7 days, but I do every third day.
Whatever. But as that experience was happening, like, was it the same thing each time, or was there a journey? Was it
different scenes? Like,
yeah,
would have been different scenes. Yeah, the first one would have been me doing horrible stuff, and the second one was just kind of written down. It was more kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of just hell on earth, and just suffering, pain, just awful sadness of that.
Death is everywhere.
Yeah. And you're somehow responsible for it as well, you know?
Yeah.
Not fully, but you're a part of this too. This is partly your fault. And yeah. But you know, these are things you're going to go through in meditation, and you just have to fucking keep going, like, because you don't want to stop here, because they'll be in a terrible place to stop.
People do, particularly, you know, people who think that that's not some, you know, I'm doing this to, you know, stress relief or whatever, or because work's making me, or Google tells me it's a good idea. Which is, you know, that's Daniel Ingram's big complaint about, you know, the dumbing down of mindfulness is that because when you approach stuff like this and people think it's wrong or it's not part of it, or, you know, oh, we don't talk about that or whatever, then, you know, damaging. And if you stop there, you know, like, oh no, yeah, it's still tough though, and you know, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of, I'm not sure it's everyone possibly, you know, I don't think it's like a definite stage or something like that. I mean, I think that can crop up at any kind of a time.
I think so too. It can come at any kind of moment. It's just what's weird for me at the minute is that it's been reoccurring lately, you know, and I've been having that reoccurring dream too, where I'm dreaming and stuff is going on, and then I kind of stop the dream and say, oh, I know what this means. This means this, and then another dream will start, and towards the end of it, I'll say, I did it. I know this too.
Right.
And it's just kind of popping off. It's very strange. You know, you wake up the next morning going, I'm a fucking genius. Yeah. Ooh, better write this down before I forget. And then you forget half the dreams, but like, whatever. That's just the thing too. See, you know what? There's a kind of thing as well with all this stuff that, like, now you have to remember, like, when you're meditating or dreaming and you have these dreams, is that like, okay, you're supposed to dream for 8 hours a day. What's that? A third of the 24 hours.
Meant to dream 8 hours a day?
I didn't sleep, you know. And so, you know, we all get kind of hooked on our dreams and our thoughts and the symbolism of it all, and same with meditation. But it's like, yeah, Jesus, but like, don't forget, there's like the other 16 hours of the day where you're human and alive and doing stuff.
That's it, isn't it? That and that's the trap of spirituality
this
in
stuff,
one sense. It's you know, it's thinking that this is the important bit, the meditation, the 20 minutes, or, you know, the dream. It's like, well, probably it is, but not, you know, the 16 hours. It's like that great thing Alan Chapman said. He's like, you know, do the practice, 20 minutes every day, and then the rest of the day, be a normal fucking person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think there is the trap of approaching everything else in the rest of your day as, I don't know,
somehow it's reflected from this, or it's
which I know. I get that's I get it too. The what's that? The oath of the abyss, whatever that is, to make every interaction as a direct something from God, whatever that thing is. I understand that can send you mad. That really can. But it's like it's another kind of way of it's spiritual bypassing, in that you're it's like, oh, this is, you know, getting into the whole stuff. It's not really real. It's blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going, oh, the real thing is here, which is kind of my annoyance with myself over an awful lot of this, is that I was, you know, we talked before, it's just like the music theory thing rather than writing the song. And, you know, you get caught up in the music theory, which is the spiritual, analysing the dreams, the meditation. Yeah, but now what what are you doing with that? What's the thing? And I think that's more important than that. But I suppose it's a balance thing. One thing I have been doing as well, which I think is interesting, is I watched the David Bowie documentary, the Moon Age Daydream, or whatever it's called. Yeah. And he talks about it in the things, he does things to make himself massively uncomfortable. So he hated Los Angeles, so he went to live there for 5 years to see what would happen. He says to see what would happen to my brain doing that. So I'm not as I don't hate myself that much, but I've started doing this. Any tiny little things that I find that I do out of habit or comfort, I try to change, just to see, so certain things. And I know this sounds kind of trite or whatever, but it's like I've actually 4 screens. One of them is my drawn monitor, and I always have, say, emails on this screen, Discords on that screen, and I go, right, now don't do that. Change that kind of around and do little things like that where it's kind of constantly not making you think. It's not, but it's just like that. There's loads of little things that you're kind of allowing yourself to just be. If why does my emails have to be in that screen?
I understand you.
And doing things just to see if you can kind of shake up different things in like creatively or stuff like that. And it's like, say when I'm recording music or writing music, there's like I used Ableton, and there's a certain way that I write.
I was going to say string your guitar upside down and play left-handed.
Well, yeah, but I think that's kind of stuff's a bit too severe. I think that's a bit too. Don't move to LA for 5 years because you hate it. But I think there's something. It's like so. And then I started using Cubase because it's a different workflow and it's different. And I found, oh well, this is interesting. And I did a reading about it, and I was going, well, because I had to spend some money to buy Cubase, and it was like it was the Messenger, the Fixer, and the Explorer. Is that right? I've done a lot of readings recently. But anyway, the thing around it was that it was the Messenger, the Librarian, and the Explorer. So it's that by studying and looking into it, it will explore. It will widen the whole kind of thing. I was going, right, okay. So looking into it, there's just your natural kind of way of how you do things, your shortcuts, all of this are all gone. And you just kind of present it with something. And then a video popped up of a guy, and he's talking about this book, Essentialism, which I've heard of, but I never read because it's kind of part of that kind of Tim Ferriss top 10 books you'd read. It's like that real kind of how to be super productive type thing. And I was like, I actually, I don't think everything has to be turned into a hustle, and everything has. So, but he was kind of talking around and saying that all of the stuff we do and all that, in some ways, are distractions from actually doing the thing, and that you have to find what is are you trying to actually achieve, like say from doing your music or whatever it is, and find that, why in his case, why have I bought 8 keyboards when I only really use one of them, and it's feeling that it's going to do something for you or whatever, because you haven't really defined what it is you're trying to do. And it's like going, right, that all makes sense, and trying to adjust my workspace to be more conducive to what I'm actually trying to do. And then it always comes back to the thing of, I don't know what I want. Oh no. But it really points to it when you kind of really look at it and you start trying to change around your almost like a paradigm shifting chaos magic thing where you just kind of, I'm going to put myself in a different space. I'm going to move to LA for 5 years and see what my brain does. And it's kind of very revealing that ultimately I have no idea what I want at all. And so that's because what you're doing then, what I'm doing is I'm spending an awful lot of time avoiding that. And I think that ultimately
avoiding trying to know, or avoiding doing what you're supposed to do? Avoiding
knowing that I don't know what I want. It's kind of, so what you do is, it's like, say, I'll go back to music again because it's good time. So I'm not really sure what the song should be. So I'm going to look at plugins. Maybe it's a plugin will help me. Maybe it's a new synth. Maybe it's a new thing. And the problem is that you spend all that and you get into all that and it's good fun or whatever you do, is that you just don't know what you want to do. That's the actual problem that you're trying to solve with all of this other stuff.
Interesting.
That isn't needed, because the problem is you don't know what you actually want the song to be. And in a sense, it's all distractions and all that. But you can justify it because,
And you're writing a song, you're trying to find the song by doing this. Yeah.
So it's in a sense. But so then when you see that and then you go, all right, well, pull back from the music thing and say, that's my entire life. And then you have to kind of look at, right. So it's like, well, what am I trying to do? And what am I doing to distract myself from that? And then just do the thing.
Yeah.
that's
but
tough,
then,
man.
there's the big, there's the massive big problem of, I mean, how the fuck do you pay your bills if you're just, searching for your true will all the time? You know what I mean? Like, Crowley went through, what, £1 million? More, like £5 million today's money or something. Whatever. And, did he find it? Probably. But he also, ate some woman's shit in Italy.
Allegedly.
Well, it depends on the book you read.
Yeah.
So,
It's an,
I think he did.
he got booted out of Italy shortly after for some reason. Anyway, so.
It was about the kid. One of the.
He got dysentery or something.
One of the kids dying, wasn't it? One of the babies dying. One of his babies dying.
And again, depending on what book you read, there's very different versions of that story. Kid didn't die, did die. It was the parents' fault. They had left. Loads of things. I don't know. Are you surprised that kids died around Crowley?
Absolutely not.
And I mean out of neglect, because he certainly neglected his own kids.
Oh, yeah, out of neglect, yeah. But he did the problem up because he had... It seems that Bowie was a big fan of his, and he had this kind of same thing. Okay, I'm going to do something that makes me uncomfortable. That Crowley, that he wanted to kind of commit the ultimate sin, but knowing he was doing it. So therefore, you're kind of doing this... How to explain it? It's not, you're almost doing it without desire.
Yeah,
almost.
It's like if you there's a cult or a religious order. I don't know what it was exactly, but rather than saying let's not have sex because we all have these compulsions, whatever. Every Thursday they had a big gangbang. Got it out of the system. It's done, and then it's not an issue for the rest of the week. 2 hours where you just ride everything. Great crack. And I think that's kind of similar to what Crowley was going. It's going like that. Just fulfill all of the things that you want to do, so that you realise they're not fulfilling.
You get the hedonism out of you. It's like we were watching one of the documentaries, Rin Poco, someone, whatever his name was, and he every now and again he would every 6 weeks or something he would just completely change what they were doing in this kind of order or cult, I suppose. Do you remember he made them dress up in military garb and stuff for 6 weeks? Just mad fella, But his thing was he drank and smoked a lot, and everyone around him did too, because it was you have to get this out of you. You need to drink yourself until you need to drink so much until you hate it.
Yeah. But it's the kind of catching the kid smoking and then you make them smoke 20.
Yeah. But I get it. But you have to be. I think you have to have fairly strong mental fortitude to pull off stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And I mean there is a physical element to it that you're not fully in control of, in that heroin is physically addictive. Rather than, that you your body is going to react in a certain way to cigarettes.
Yeah, your body's going to fucking love it, and then fuck you up.
But still need it. Yeah, so I get. Go on, sorry.
I know. I was going to say I read 2 books on him there. The Kaczynski book, Perdurabo, and Gary Lachman's book as well. Now, I presume Telemites hate Lachman's book.
Well, I don't. I actually
book.
don't know anyone who likes Gary Lachman. I've read a couple of his books. I think he's fine.
Seems fine. Yeah. I don't mind his interviews. I've watched a few of them, on it's mostly kind of rebel wisdom. I think of.
It's a great one with Jason. What's his name? Who wrote the John Dee book?
Louvre.
Jason, yeah. Where they just argue with each other for
all right
over their definitions of chaos magic.
Okay.
He's an odd understanding of chaos magic.
Yeah, but I think
that's okay.
Well, I'm glad I read the second one, because the first book, the Kaczynski book, is a complete total fucking whitewash of Crowley. He never done anything bad at all, and nothing is his fault. And it's awful,
which is true.
And it's very long, and it's I don't want to give out about people. That's not nice. So let's make this not personal.
Well, I think someone mentioned that. I think it was either you or Duncan Bofford. I'm not sure, but it was if you really want to know what Crowley was doing at 2:30 on a Tuesday in 1921, it's in that book.
Yeah. No, the problem with it is that it's too broad because it goes into too many details about like secondary, tertiary, whatever the next one is, characters that don't really matter. It's kind of like, when he was trying to do K2, he did it with a man from Austria and another man from Italy and and the man from Italy, and then it just gives you his whole fucking family history.
And not in a cool John Higgs way.
Pointless. Yeah. It's just not needed. Whereas like Lachman's book is like, he sets it out very early, the first couple of pages. He's like, I'm trying to figure out Crowley here, and I'm going to look at him from a perspective of how Carl Jung would see him, how Theosophus would see him, how Rudolf Steiner would have seen him, and I'm going to kind of get what he was at. And then a page later, he's like, Crowley was definitely autistic. And he makes a good argument for it because he says, depending on where you are on the spectrum, it's very difficult for people with autism to have more conceptual thoughts without having to do it.
Right.
And so his argument is, well, this is why Crowley had this gumption and strong urge to have to do everything, because he couldn't just sit there and think it. So he had to experience.
Had to play it out. Yeah.
Which I thought, okay, that's pretty interesting.
Then that would, the hedonism thing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's exactly
But look, here, I'm not going to say one is... I like Lachman's more because it's more kind of rattles the cage of Crowley, whereas like the Kaczynski book is very thoroughly researched but quite boring. But I think the truth lies in the middle of them, right. Really. Yeah. That's a whitewash. The other one's a takedown. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Do you think you've
that's enough Crowley biographies, or what will you?
Oh yeah, I'll never read another one now. Enough from them. Yeah, because it's just yes. How many times have I said it? Look, Talima's a good idea, but he was a shitbag.
Spud.
That's it. Yeah.
Get that in a t-shirt. Right, that's an hour. There will be anything else you'd like to... I had an Irish section thing, but we can do it next time.
Done an hour. Yeah.
Damien Mully put up or retweeted a tweet about funny things that happen in Ireland. But we'll leave it for next week. That's it.
All right then. Bye everyone.
But it's the Night Shift with Spud and Tommie. Coming in your ears.
Yeah, I can't top that.
Bye.